Okay, let's get going. We're running a little late today, so I'll ask that everybody kind of take a seat so we can get started. We may have, I know, Robert, do we have any hearing? If we can find a couple hearing devices that can help you hear a little bit better, who would like to try one of those? Okay, one person? Two? Okay. Two in the second row here. And then when Robert comes down, just raise your hand. Okay. Let's get this show on the road, as they say. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? It's not raining, so that's a blessing right there. I am Dayna Wilson, and I'm a seniors real estate specialist, but more importantly, a certified senior housing professional. And because my entire business focus is working with boomers, zoomers, and savvy seniors on the move, I soon learned, as we were serving our clients, that people had a lot of misinformation. They either had misinformation or they'd go on the internet and they'd have too much information. And that was a little confusing as well. So I determined that there was possibly a need to have a series of seminars that would bring to light the truth and the facts about a myriad of different topics that have to do with senior housing and living options. And so we cover the gamut. I want to ask, oh, and by the way, for those of you that are newer or new, we've been providing these seminars for free for almost 8 years, every single month. And that is in great part and thanks to our wonderful education partners. So if we have education partners here, would you stand up? And we are probably not going to have you come up today, but I want to make sure that you all meet them. So I see Jenny Shively in the back with Heritage Downtown, wave. I see Kim Falahati on the phone with Custom Moving and Hauling, waving back there. I see Nikki Sullivan with the Sullivan Group, Lending and Reverse Mortgage. I see Martha Eccles with Mutual of Omaha Lending, Reverse Mortgage. I see Megan Mollo with CareQuest, Placement Advisors. And who am I missing? Is that, did I catch everybody? Aaron, is that you? I can't see you.
Kim Falahati, Family Matters.
No, we got Kim. Jonathan, thank you. Jonathan, awesome, with Arosa Care in Home Care. Thank you. I can't see you, you're in the dark. I'm getting old, my glasses aren't working. Okay, so it's really thanks to them that we are able to continue to provide these for you. We are going to get into today's subject, but before we do, show of hands, who's here for the very first time? Wow! We've got half and half, newbies and groupies. So welcome to the newbies. I hope you will return and check out future topics. But today's topic is all things Rossmoor. And I bet you, almost all of you, if not all of you, have a friend or have had a relative live in Rossmoor. Yeah? Yeah. I too live in Rossmoor. How do you like that? So not only do I help people buy and sell in Rossmoor, but I live there. So I can kind of tell you the things that we enjoy. But we are very lucky to have these three amazing, these are Rossmoor rock stars we have here today. These three people basically run the place, and I'm not kidding. We are going to have them each introduce themselves so you kind of know a little bit, just kind of name, rank, and serial number, but who they are, what they do, how long they've been doing it, and then we'll get into the questions. So, Jeff.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Matheson. I'm the general manager for Golden Rain Foundation, which is pretty much the managing agent for Rossmoor. I've been with Rossmoor as a general manager now just for over a year, but I've been with the organization for about 14 years. It is definitely my favorite job I've had. It is such a wonderful community. It is really rewarding as a general manager to be able to see all of the folks take advantage of the many amenities and opportunities that are in Rossmoor. So we hope to share some of that information with you today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeroen Wright. I am the Director of Mutual Operations. Mutual Operations is a division of the Golden Rain Foundation, and we are the managing agent for 22 of the 23 mutuals that are in Rossmoor. I report directly to Jeff Matheson, and really here to run the management department of the Golden Rain Foundation.
Good morning. I am Ariadna, and I work at the Waterford. The Waterford is a congregate living that's within the Rossmoor community. I am now the office administrator, but I was formerly the transition coordinator, and I help all of our new residents once they've moved in, whether they bought or they've leased the place, and I have a one-on-one orientation with each member that comes in to kind of let them know what the Waterford is, how we operate, and what we offer to all of our residents. I report directly to Chana Alprin, who is our executive director, but I'm filling in for her today.
Awesome. And again, thank you all for being here and taking time out of your busy days. Jeff, what is Rossmoor and who should live there?
So Rossmoor is a premier active living adult community. So is anybody here into golf? Few. Lawn bowling? Art? Pickleball. Got to be some pickleball players here. Rossmoor is truly an active senior adult community. It is a place where you can join one of 200 clubs. You can take advantage of any of the amenities, pools, the fitness center, go to movies, concerts, dances, you name it. We have workshops for art, for ceramics, lapidary, wood shop. Anything you can really think of or imagine, it is available to you at Rossmoor. So if you are an active senior adult and you want to take advantage of all of those opportunities, Rossmoor is a tremendous value and a wonderful place for you. Rossmoor is made up of a number of mutuals, which are homeowners associations, and then there is the Golden Rain Foundation. I work for the Golden Rain Foundation. The Golden Rain Foundation manages and owns for the benefit of all of the members, all of the common area amenities and services. We have a whole recreation department. We have a bus transportation department. We have counseling services. All of those are managed by the Golden Rain Foundation, which I work for. And then we also have a division called Mutual Operations, which is a property management division that Jeroen will be talking about. So Rossmoor really is a active community. If you are looking for a place to be engaged in a lot of activities, it is certainly a place for you.
There's always something going on, and we always joke telling people, if you are bored at Rossmoor, that's your own choice, because it's really hard to be bored at Rossmoor. And thus, you heard Jeff say multiple times, it's an active adult community, because when I am touring people in Rossmoor and they're looking for a place that they can call home there, they always ask me, why are there so many stairs? I always get that. Why are there so many stairs? Because originally it was built for, I thought I heard 45 years old plus in the very beginning.
At the very beginning, it was designed for affordable housing and really a HUD project, but has gradually evolved. I don't know that it was for 45 plus. I'll take your word for that. But it's built into a valley, so there are a lot of hills and there are some stairways within the mutuals. But yeah, it is really designed as that active community.
Yep, perfect. All right. So why is there, tell us about that community fee. that everybody pays when they move to Rossmoor. There's a one-time fee, which is now $13,000. And it's an entrance fee, but what does that cover exactly?
So we call that our membership transfer fee. And as you said, it is a one-time fee you pay. It is associated with the property itself. And so when a property transfers, the new owner pays that membership transfer fee. Hey, how many people here have been to Rossmoor? Just about everybody. Great. When you drive through that front gate, you really enter into a different atmosphere. I mean, you don't even recognize it as you're driving up, but once you cross through that gate and you enter into Rossmoor, and you take advantage and you look at all of those amenities available to you, whether it is the golf courses, whether it is Creekside, where there's the restaurant, the event center where we have concerts and performances, whether it's the fitness center that was renovated in 2017, all of those amenities are funded, and all of our capital is funded from that membership transfer fee. So that's how we keep the roadways in better condition than what you find in your neighborhood outside of Walnut Creek. That's how we fund all of our capital, our ability to build those new buildings, renovate what's there, and keep everything in good working order. So there are monthly assessments that people pay as part of their homeowners. That does not go towards our capital or our improvements. All of it is funded from that one-time fee that people pay when they enter.
Awesome. And Jeff, what is the average age of residents now, and has that changed over the years since it opened?
I hear a lot that the age seems to be coming down a bit, but truly our average age is 77. It has been 77 for as long as I've been there, for 14 years. I think we do have some newer or some younger people moving in, but then they are living there longer. Our average person lives there about 7-8 years, but I think that is what is increasing. So it maintains the average age at about 77, 78.
So you already mentioned how many mutuals there were. Why so many, and how do they differ? Like, there's a lot of HOAs or mutuals. And by the way, you'll start to learn that Rossmoor has its own language.
We do have our own language.
They call an HOA a mutual. They call the HOA monthly dues a coupon. So, they just had to be different. But
Yes.
Why so many, Jeff?
So there's 23 different mutuals, and then within one of the mutuals, there's several projects. And we have, how many homes do we have? 6,400 homes?
60.
Something like that. But we have co-ops, we have condos, we have single family, there's the congregate living at Waterford. All of them are pretty unique and different. Rossmoor has a huge range of price points too. You have your single bedroom co-ops all the way up to multi-million-dollar single family homes or home condos on the ridge with views. They come with unique interest requirements. They come with unique fees associated with their maintenance and operations. So it's important that they're represented by a board or a association that understands their unique requirements. So there's very, very different housing options and communities. So if you do look to Rossmoor, make sure you do a lot of research on the various housing stock that is available.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the difference between a co-op and a condo, because there are some pretty big differences in a little bit. So you touched a little bit, Jeff, on the amenities, because there are so many amenities, and the clubs and the organizations, et cetera. I love the food trucks. They have food trucks usually Tuesday nights, and they sort of circle the wagons down in front of the theater, and that's a really fun thing. Farmers market on Friday mornings, not during winter, but should be starting up pretty soon. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. We went to a really lovely, fun, old-fashioned 4th of July celebration. Met some new people just sitting there. I mean, there's so many, there's smart, educated, well-traveled, really interesting people that live there, just like outside of Rossmoor. But you will find your tribe if you look for them, because there is just something for everyone there. We enjoyed the gym, water aerobics. I mean, I don't even know. What are we forgetting?
Do we have any ABBA fans here? By any
ABBA.
chance? A few?
What's the name
We
of
had
the
a
band?
wonderful concert this last week. I think we sold out with about 450 people, and we had a ABBA tribute band. That is something that you can expect almost every other week, monthly. We have great music performances or entertainment that comes through. There's movies that are in the theater. As you mentioned, the food trucks. There's always something going on, and you have to be able to find whatever interests you. There is got to be a club that meets that interest. So diverse. It's amazing.
Yeah. Did you wear bell bottoms to the ABBA concert?
I did not,
Oh,
but I should have.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So there are some restrictions in Rossmoor. And we can talk about the details of that. Non-smoking, there are some pet restrictions. So I want to know, I mean, I did ask before we moved if I could bring my 4 Great Danes to move to Rossmoor. And Jeff's answer was,
Why would you have 4 Great Danes in a condo? Would be my answer. But no, there are restrictions, and Jeroen can talk a little bit about that. But by mutual, there are different restrictions that you have to follow. This is living within, mostly condos or co-ops. You have neighbors. You have upstairs neighbors or downstairs neighbors or neighbors to your right or left. You have to be able to live in that kind of atmosphere. And the rules generally are designed to help people get along with their neighbors and in that environment. So no smoking, that is a Walnut Creek ordinance, but restrictions on the number of dogs, so your neighbors aren't up all night listening to them. But Jeroen can answer that a little bit more too.
Yeah, it's really important that if you're going to be moving into the Rossmoor, or you're thinking about purchasing in Rossmoor, you'll hear me say this many times today, it's critical that you review their governing documents. Their governing documents are going to be their rules, policies, bylaws, CCNRs that are going to tell you what is and what is not allowed in each individual mutual and or association. So it's different for every single mutual, but the majority of them that I've read have limited the number of pets to each unit to 3 pets. That would be 2 dogs, 1 cat, 3 cats, 3 dogs. Does not take into account for aquatic life. So those are some of the things that they think about, and it's all spelled out. It spells it out word for word. So it's critical that if you're looking to purchase in Rossmoor that you review those governing documents.
very good. And that is the same, by the way, if you were to move into any homeowners association, any townhome, or any condo outside of Rossmoor as well. There's always going to be homeowners documents. You get a nice thick packet of about 300 pages plus, and it goes into detail, the rules and the regs and all those good things. So Jeff, what if I end up not being able to drive in the future? Is there any transportation assistance in Rossmoor?
So Rossmoor does have its own bus system. They are 14 to 16 passenger buses, and they operate 7 days a week within the community of Rossmoor, but also go to downtown Walnut Creek. We go to BART, we go to the shopping center right outside the gate. So there are opportunities still to remain independent, even if you don't drive. But again, it's critical to think about how active you are. We have other opportunities such as, we call it GoGo Grandparent, but it uses Uber and Lyft to help subsidize. So there are a lot of alternative options.
Yeah. I've even found a couple people that are retired and living in Rossmoor, and they'll give rides to the airport, which is pretty slick. So you don't even have to call an Uber. You just call a fellow Rossmoorian, and they'll come pick you up. So that's good to know. All right. So I've got to ask the question, the elephant in the room. What's going on with insurance in Rossmoor? Because, by the way, I don't know, has anyone here had a call from their insurance company saying, hi, we've appreciated your business the last 38 years, but we're going to drop your homeowner's insurance. So I saw one hand go up. There's there's a good half dozen people here whose lovely insurance companies have dropped them. And so the same thing, it's a challenge statewide, but I just wanted Jeff to address it because there's been a lot of talk in the news about it. So, Jeff, what can we say about insurance going on?
I can say that insurance is not my new favorite topic, but definitely one that I've spent a lot of time on this past year. You as an individual homeowner, there are challenges that you face with rising costs, or you may have received notice that your policy is being dropped or that your carrier is moving out of California. In Rossmoor, we have what's called a master policy. So when you move into a condo or a co-op, the insurance is covered for you in terms of the structure, and we call it a walls-in policy. You still have to have your own, what they call it a HO6 policy that covers your personal belongings and liability, but the property insurance is covered by the association. We have $2.66 billion worth of assets that we need to insure. And last year, that coverage was about $14 million for the collective Rossmoor. This last year, it went up to $22 million, a 50% increase, and our coverage dropped significantly. So we are in what's called the reinsurance market compared to your commercial homeowners associations, farmers, State Farm that you're in now. We are in a reinsurance market, so we're affected a little bit different. Because of that, we are, I don't want you to go away from here thinking, well, Rossmoor doesn't have insurance. We have insurance that covers all of the homes 100% up to a $1.16 billion loss, which is what we have pegged as a 1 in 10,000 year scenario, loss scenario. So we have very, very robust insurance coverage that covers all of the units 100%. We would have to exceed a 1 in 10,000 year loss event in order to not have the full coverage. But why it's critical is the mortgage industry, especially those that are backed by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, have determined that that does not meet their qualifications for 100% replacement value coverage. So as you'll learn if you go to buy in Rossmoor right now, your mortgage options are limited. Most come in with all cash. Now there are still some options that are out there, but that is something we are certainly experiencing, and we're not alone in Rossmoor. This is homeowner associations and master plan communities like Rossmoor throughout the state is experiencing this, where it is very difficult to get that full coverage or to get a mortgage for purchases in the community. I don't believe, though, that the Waterford, they still have 100% coverage because they are independent from the rest of the mutuals. That's probably a much deeper dive than you wanted to hear about, but just rest assured that if you do move to Rossmoor, it does have robust coverage, but there are some impacts we're certainly dealing with.
Thank you for addressing that. And I don't know if this is a question for you, Jeff, or Jeroen, about can I rent a garage or additional carport for my second or third car, and can I park my RV?
So great question. Renting a second carport or a port for your golf cart is 100% up to the association that you may or may not be purchasing in. Most of them do have some sort of rental agreements that occur to rent out someone's carport that doesn't use it. And the mutual operations department helps manage that for them.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And then we also do have an RV storage lot that is located on site, and it is available to the residents to utilize.
Awesome. Like how many spaces approximately?
That's a great question, Jeff.
I think we have 130 spaces, and currently it's, I think, $1,000 for a covered space. We have solar that goes over the top and canopies for the year, and $750 for an uncovered space for a year.
And are they all filled?
They are currently all filled, I believe.
Okay, nice. All right, but I'm sure there's a waiting list or something. Okay, so a lot of people ask me this too, because when I'm touring with people, I'll say, well, what is your main motivation to move to Rossmoor? And of course, we all have different wants and needs. Often they'll say, well, I want more community. I want a place where there's built-in activities. Some people say they want security, right? They want to feel safe. And thus the security gate and other measures along those lines. But some people are concerned in and outside of Rossmoor about emergency preparedness, right? So what happens in the case of an earthquake or a fire, something like that? So I wanted to ask Jeff sort of what procedures and plans are in place to protect the residents there.
So as we survey our residents or hear the reasons why people move to Rossmoor, certainly it's the amenities, it's the active lifestyle, but security is probably the number one reason people list. Having a gated community, having on-site security is very comforting. Certainly our crime rate and everything else is really low. So it is a very secure place, and that is something that people seek. Also the proximity to the Bay Area, and a lot of people move there because they want to be near their family that may have moved to the Bay Area. But in relation to emergency preparedness, we have organizations that we work with, EPO. You could probably answer this better, but there are a number of organizations. Also, we coordinate with Contra Costa Fire District, with the city of Walnut Creek. We have a fire department right outside of our gate. We have evacuation plans. When you move in, you're provided with a nice booklet that talks about emergency preparedness. It is a topic that is in the forefront continuously. You want to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that Rossmoor is that we have it split up into actually 8 evacuation zones. And if there was a reason to evacuate any one of those zones, that would be declared by our emergency system. So the fire department and the police would be the ones making those evacuations. But if there was a fire that was a wildland fire that may be threatening units, they would evacuate the zone closest to the threat, and they would evacuate adjacent zones in a systematic fashion. If there was a situation where we had to evacuate anybody out of Rossmoor, all of the inbound lanes would be converted to outbound lanes. So there's 4 inbound lanes and 2 outbound lanes right now, normally. All 4 of the inbound lanes would be converted to outbound lanes for ease of egress. And then we have different access points throughout the community where our emergency personnel will be entering. And we do have the EPO that Jeff mentioned, and also in the past they've had actual evacuation drills. I'm looking to partner closely with Station 3 Captain, his name is Jeff Ornelas, and work towards putting on a presentation in the near future on what his department would do in the case of a necessary evacuation. So it's a very robust plan. If anybody wants to read through the plan, it is on rossmoor.com, where you can find almost any information on Rossmoor anytime.
Nice. And I was told, I think, maybe by your predecessor, there are other exit areas that are not coming out of the main gate, but it's dirt roads, maybe fire trails. Did I get the wrong information?
So we're working on other exits. There is fire roads that go to the east that are not currently accessible. There are roads, access roads that go towards the west, towards Lafayette, Moraga, Orinda. But those areas, and we also have an entrance that comes through the dog park that's in Rossmoor. But those entrances we have designated for emergency personnel entrance, all exiting through Rossmoor in the time of an emergency evacuation will be done through the front gates.
Okay. Huh. Good to know. Good to know. And Jeff, handyman services. I believe there are some. Oh, Jeroen.
I can take care of handyman services. Yeah. So handyman services is a service that is actually put on by the Golden Rain Foundation, but managed through the Mutual Operations Department. It is a $275 annual fee for the handyman service. But with that, you get up to 8 calls per year, I believe. It might even be more than that. Is it? I think it's two. It's two calls. 2 calls per. No, 4 calls per month, 2 hours each. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You get a ton of handyman service. You want to clarify that, Jeff? Sorry.
I was just going to say, I really would love to have this myself. I mean, how many of you would benefit from being able to make a phone call, schedule an appointment because you want pictures hung, you want decorations taken down or put back into your storage, you want light bulb, a whole slew of things.
Yeah, very basic. Basic handyman services. Anything that's not going to be needed to be done by a licensed contractor, we will try to make happen through the handyman service, as long as it doesn't expose us to a great deal of liability. Sometimes people ask us to move appliances. In the past, that's caused damage to floors. So we try to stay away from those type of things. But we are there to help out. And I think it's a great, great deal. Like Jeff said, looked into it. Most handyman services are going to charge you between $200 and $400 per hour per visit. So the $275 per year is an amazing deal.
275?
$275.
It went up.
It did go up. It was $250 previously.
Yeah.
It just went up $25 starting January 1st, 2024.
But that is an amazing deal. Because if you called a handyman, they're going to charge you, who knows, like $100 an hour anyway, and then you still haven't gotten the job done just to show up. So it is, and I've called the handyman service a number of times already. They've been great. So we're going to switch over to Ariadna with the Waterford. So are you all familiar with the Waterford? Yeah, so not as many people. Okay, so Ariadna, what is the Waterford, number one, and how does it differ from all the other mutuals?
So the Waterford is a congregate living, as I mentioned. It's for independent residents. We don't have any medical staff on site. So it is for independent residents. We have 300 units all at the Waterford. We have 2 buildings, the south and the north. We have a dining room that I think is what's most attracting to people, that serves 1 meal a day with the unit purchase or you leasing the unit. We have custodians, we have maintenance on site as well. We have all of our administration there, office staff that help kind of all of our residents that come into the Waterford.
Awesome. And what services are provided? Like, I think you have a beauty salon there. What else do you offer?
So aside from the meals and the weekly housekeeping, we do have a beauty salon on site. As I mentioned, we have a custodial team, we have maintenance team as well. So that helps our residents with small things. Custodian can help you move something over. They could help residents with their TV settings, but we have maintenance as well that can, if you have a clog in your kitchen sink, if you have a backup of some sort, that can help out with that. So our beauty salon is part of that. It's an independent gal that takes care of it there, so you pay all your services to her. It's Jennifer and Kelsey that run the beauty salon right now.
Will Jennifer and Kelsey do my mani-pedi?
Yes, they're great. They've been there for some time now.
Good to know. Okay, perfect. So you already talked about repairs, which is great. Is it the same sort of situation with a yearly, or does it just come with the price of?
So our maintenance is on a call service, a call request. So you would call our front desk and request a work order for a certain item. Most things I think our maintenance can help out with, but of course bigger jobs, like if it's an actual plumbing issue, all of that, residents are going to be directed to call outside companies. A lot of our residents do use the Golden Rain handyman service as well, because they do offer those 4 times a month. So it just kind of depends, but our maintenance is available for our residents, depending on the severity of the issue.
Nice. So if I move to the Waterford, what'll be the best way for me to meet the other residents there?
So that's a good question.
Thank you.
You'll start off with me. I've been there for about 9 years now, and I've done the transition portion of it for at least 8 or so years of that. So you'll start off with me. I'll give you as much information as I can when you first join. And then there's committees. We have a welcome committee. So there's a chairman and there's a few other members that will reach out to our new residents and say, ask you to come to dinner. There's a Wednesday night dinner table that's specifically in each dining room reserved for just our new residents, so that's another good way of meeting people. And then Friday nights, the cocktail party, we also have a designated table for our newcomers and everyone kind of helping them join and get acquainted with the Waterford.
Oh, that sounds fun. I like that. So if my family comes to visit me, is there a place for them perhaps to stay within the Waterford?
Yes, the Waterford has 4 guest rooms altogether, so 2 in the south building, 2 in the north building, and they're a first come, first serve. So they're open all year round. They stay at the price that's budgeted. So currently we are at $120 a night, and they'll stay like that throughout the remainder of the year until the next year. If there's an increase, then it would increase by that. But it stays the same regardless of a holiday or not. So residents are able to reserve those for their guests.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So is it as easy to get involved at the Waterford as it is in the other mutuals?
I think so. I think that our residents, there's a lot of them that have been there for many years, but even so, the newer residents, they're all very welcoming. If they see a resident sitting by themselves in the dining room, they most likely will tell you, hey, do you want to join us? All of our staff, too, we pinpoint new residents and, making sure that we can do everything for our new residents to help kind of guide them and bring them into the Waterford. And then we also have an activity department. So we have our own activities at the Waterford, and it ranges from exercise classes in the mornings to evenings where we have, musicians or what we call live entertainment on certain nights of the week. And this is a pretty much an all-day thing where you have different people coming in for different activities like art and all of that.
Yeah, because I've seen, when I've been there, I've seen people downstairs playing, dominoes and...
Yes. So that all of the residents have, as he mentioned, access to all of our activities there. So residents will play, mahjong, bingo. Bingo's a big one. So that happens every Tuesday. There's definitely a lot of activities within the Waterford common area.
So every member of the Waterford is also a member of Golden Rain Foundation and has full access to every amenity that's in the community. So Waterford is super self-contained and has a whole bunch of activities, but all of those members can also utilize anything in Golden Rain, the fitness center, the golf course, the movies, all of those activities are available to them as well.
Awesome.
And a lot of our residents are very active within the Rossmoor community. They love the fitness center. I hear that, the golf course, all of those. So it's a little bit of a bonus to be at the Waterford, I believe, to pay for those extra activities as well, because those are just limited to our Waterford residents.
Awesome. Do you have medical staff on?
We do not.
Okay.
As I've mentioned, we're an independent living facility. If something were to happen, more often than not, we will contact 911. But if it's something where a resident fell down and they're sure nothing's they're not hurting, we do sometimes refer to we call public safety, their immediate assistance number there, and ask for a lift assist. So that's usually as far as we go. We do as much as we can to make you comfortable, but we don't move anyone if they've fallen, if they've hurt themselves, but we do stay with you as more of a compassionate thing rather than further hurting you.
Just to expand on that a little bit, we talked about security and comfort of security. Part of our security includes 24/7 EMT services on site. So we do have that first responder. They don't take the place of 911 ever, but they are right there on site and many times respond quicker than an ambulance and can do that very first triage. And that's really comforting for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
agree with that.
Yeah.
They're great when we call them. Again, more often than not, they can come and assist. They, know better than we do, kind of what questions to ask and all of that, and prepare for when the ambulance arrives or the fire department. We also work great with them to letting them into the residence manor. As long as you're part of our master system, when the Rossmoor EMTs arrive, we've already, asked someone to open up the door and allow them to go into the units, or whether, direct them to whatever common area place they're at.
And we haven't mentioned that in Rossmoor, Greater Rossmoor, there is somewhere between 118 or maybe even upwards of 200 different models because of the way people have rearranged and remodeled their models. So I wanted to also ask, how many different, let's say, models or floor plans are there in the Waterford?
So I believe there's 9 different layouts. We refer to them as unit types. So the monthly HOA is based off of the unit type, but there's about 9 model types. So anything from a 1-bedroom, 1-bath to I've seen a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. So those are obviously the larger ones, and I'd say there's more 1-bedrooms, 1-bath than the other bigger models, but there's certainly, we have 300 units. So there's what we even call a double manor, which is a smaller unit combined with the larger unit, and that's what creates those 3-bedroom, 2-bath scenarios.
And that's where I was going with this, because there, even though it's congregate living, you may think, oh, that sounds small. But there are some places there that are huge because they have combined 2 units together. And it lives like, a penthouse in some swanky, condo building in an urban area. Really lovely, beautiful views of the water and such.
Yes, I agree.
That's another thing. Some people will be very specific and say they want views. So again, Rossmoor's a big valley. So when you get up in some of the hills there are some outstanding views depending on what side you are. If you're on the east side, you're going to get gorgeous sunsets. If you are on the south side, in some cases you can see all the way to the Carquinez Straits in the water and Mount St. Helena. If you are on the west side, some homes have 180-degree views of Mount Diablo. So views can be found, or other people say, nah, I don't want a view. I want to be able to walk to the library. I want to walk to the movies. I want to walk to the creek side and have a glass of wine and meet my friends for dinner tonight. So there are places for that too, which are more down below along the 2 main roads. There's kind of 2 main roads. It's a big oval, if you will. So I just want to kind of bring that up as well. Have I forgotten to ask you anything about the Waterford?
I don't think so. I do, the Waterford has 4 stories. So there's first floor units, second, third, and fourth. And some of those views I've heard, I haven't gone into all the units, of course, but I have heard that there's very pretty views up on the 4th floor. Normally what I hear from residents is, depending on the how much they'd like to walk. So sometimes they'll decide because of a parking space where they want to be at the Waterford. Some decide because of views, and some want to be quickly to be able to leave the building if there's an emergency. So they want first floor. So we do have a wide range of residents that choose their unit depending on what their needs are.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Jeroen, you're in the hot seat now. All right. What do home sellers need to know as they prepare to sell their manor?
That is a great question. So we have a whole resales and alterations department. The resales and alterations department is headed up by Bill Parsons. But some of the main thing that you need to know when you're getting ready to sell is that there is a required resale inspection of your unit prior to the sale. And that inspection can take a little time. So if you're looking to sell, it's a very good idea to get the resale inspection started as soon as possible, because it can take some time to make that happen. And then it's really important that they understand that when they're living in Rossmoor, that alterations need to be permitted correctly, right? So we have our resales and alterations department where you would request a permit application for any kind of alteration to your unit. If you were living in a unit and you decided to do an alteration without a permit, those permits would need to be acquired before the sale of that purchase was allowed. And sometimes an alteration may require a permit from the city of Walnut Creek. Those city permits can take a long time sometimes to get. So what I would say is that if you're looking to be a seller in Rossmoor, start early and look towards the resales and alterations department for information. They're there to help. They're very accessible, and there will be questions, and we will have the answers, and we'll be there for you to support you 100% through the process.
Nice. When I'm helping people get ready to list their homes in Rossmoor, we want to give resales about 2+ weeks to at least get that scheduled. But the inspection itself takes like 10 minutes. But what's interesting is it seems like there's different requirements for different mutuals.
Absolutely. So again, each mutual is in its own association, and it's ran by a nonprofit corporation. Those corporations make decisions on their own, and they make changes to their policies. So every single one is different. So it's very critical that you read those governing documents. And so when we do a resale inspection, each mutual has a different list of things that they're looking for. Some of the things they're looking for in all of the resale alteration or the resale inspections are the fire or the smoke alarms and the CO2 alarms installed? Has there been any unpermitted alterations? Are there any repairs needed to be made by the mutual before the sale? So those are some things. Oh, and braided supply lines from your water supply to your appliances is extremely important. So there's some things that we inspect on every single resale inspection, but every single mutual is a little bit different on what they want to see inspected for.
Right. I know there's a couple that require wired smoke and carbon, and others don't. So anyway, it keeps us agents on our toes.
It keeps us on our toes as well.
Perfect. Jeroen, can we rent in Rossmoor, and for how long?
That's again, like I told you from the very beginning of my presentation, and the very beginning of this is a lot of it's in your governing documents. There are co-ops in Rossmoor and there are condominiums in Rossmoor. They both have completely different sets of rules. So what I did was actually went into the governing documents for First Walnut Creek Mutual, and you find this in their subleasing section, and it says the minimum lease term, no unit shall be subleased for a period of less than 3 months. Only 2 short-term leases of 3-month durations are allowed per year. You're going to find this kind of verbiage, and it's going to be different for every single mutual. But it's important to understand it because they will make you follow those rules. So yeah, absolutely, there are rentals available in Rossmoor. There's also caps on the rental agreements, right? So there's a 25% cap on rentals on a lot of the mutuals. So that also creates other circumstances. But absolutely, there is rental opportunities. And if you're an owner in Rossmoor, there are opportunities for you to rent if you were to leave your home for a period of time. Say you wanted to go on a 6-month trip to Europe and you knew somebody that could lease your unit for 6 months. That is doable. What they don't want is they don't want it to be an Airbnb where people are coming and going on a regular basis. It's very important that they control who is coming in and coming out because of the rules are so strict and stringent. It's very, very critical.
Right, yes. So if I'm working with a buyer that wants to buy in Rossmoor, what do they need to be prepared to do that is kind of special to Rossmoor?
So what I would say is special to Rossmoor. First, review your governing documents. No matter what happens, review your governing documents. I recently just purchased a condo, and the first thing I did was read the governing documents because I'm in the business. So that's the number one thing I can recommend to anybody who is purchasing a new home in Rossmoor. Read the governing documents. There's rules that will be different for each and every one, so that's important. Also, be ready to be part of a new buyers meeting. So we have a new buyers meeting for all new buyers where they have a Zoom meeting with our resales and alterations department where they discuss what is Rossmoor. And they also discuss alterations that may have happened to that unit in the past, because alterations to a unit end up becoming the responsibility of the unit owner. So those are things that are extremely important to know when you are looking to be a buyer in Rossmoor.
Right, right. And usually their agents are part of that call as well. So we sit in and kind of hold their hand and make sure that they're getting all their questions answered and understand what they're signing up for.
Yeah, and then after that, they'll go to the front gateway and they'll get their new resident binder. They'll go to Securitas and get their RFID tag so they can get in and out of the gate easily. There's a process, and it's a welcoming process. Sure. And we try to make it as amazing as we possibly can.
Yeah. And we even have a recycling.
Yes, we do have a recycling center. It is up at 800 Rockview Drive, where if you have recyclables, you can bring them up there and recycle at no charge.
I'm thinking, when somebody moves in, they have a lot of cardboard boxes. So it's probably best to bring them up there, but that's good to know as well.
Yeah. And then usually there's a welcoming committee. In that new buyers meeting, somebody representing the mutual or the association will be at that buyers meeting. Normally it's the president of the association, just to welcome the new resident and give them any kind of specifics that president feels is pertinent to their mutual.
Okay, the big question. What's the difference between condos and cooperatives? And what is the I can answer this, but I want to hear it from Jeroen. What is, I think we know what condos are.
Sure.
But so why do we have condos and co-ops in Rossmoor? And then talk to us about the co-op and then how that differs if you're the seller or the buyer, homeowner.
Okay. So originally, like Jeff said, it was a HUD development, and the co-ops were some of the first of the associations that were built. The difference between a condo and a co-op is when you purchase a condo, you're actually purchasing the square footage of that condo. When you're purchasing a co-op, you're actually purchasing a certificate of a corporation. So it's like holding a stock. You don't actually own the building or the land. You own a percentage of the corporation that owns all of the land and all of the building of that mutual. So it's different in that way. And one of the main things that's different because of that is that when you live in a co-op, many, many things are taken care of by the association and not taken care of by the resident. So in perhaps, let's say, a condo, if you have a light bulb that goes out in your condo, and you own that condo, you own that light bulb, you replace that light bulb, it's on you. In a in a co-op, the mutual owns that light bulb. So if you call in for a light bulb replaced, the mutual will pay for that light bulb replacement. Those payments are made by the coupon or your monthly assessment. So when you pay your monthly assessment, the funds from that assessment go towards maintaining the entire mutual.
And talk about appliances.
Appliances are included unless they've been altered. So if you have a stove that is an original stove and it breaks, goes out, the mutual will pay for it 100% to be replaced. The homeowner pays $0. If that homeowner wants to upgrade to a different type of stove, then that homeowner pays for that stove, and then that owner and every single owner in perpetuity owns that stove afterwards. So that's something that's very critical to understand.
And so what appliances are covered, and does this include HVAC?
In the mutuals, it does include HVAC.
For the co-ops?
Yes, the co-ops. Thank you very much. In the
Right.
co-ops, yes, the HVACs are included. In the condos, they are not included. There are times where we will do maintenance on the ductwork if it is affected by some other cause.
Got it. So your stove, your refrigerator,
Stove, refrigerator, dishwasher,
Dishwasher.
all of that is included.
what about microwave?
Microwave is included if it is built in.
If it's original.
If it's original,
It's
built
all
in.
original, yeah. Because obviously a lot of people have remodeled their homes since these places were built in the, well, in some cases, the late 50s, mostly the 60s, right? So that is a benefit to purchasing a co-op. But just remember that when you see this beautiful remodeled co-op with all stainless steel appliances, those are not going to be covered any longer by Rossmoor. Okay, and then there's some other rules that I do need to share with folks, which has to do with flooring. And this is sort of a big deal because a lot of people have allergies, they don't want carpet, or they have pets. And so there are some rules about flooring.
Absolutely. So the rules that are in place are always there to protect the residents. And the no hardwood flooring rule on the second floor is there to protect the residents that are below from the noise of people constantly walking on hardwood floors or solid floors. This is changing. Many of the mutuals are looking to new products, new sound barriers that have improved over the years. They're looking to have studies done and to see if there are new flooring products that are less noisy to the downstairs neighbors, and there may be changes to the policies. So that's why I say, every single one is different. So Third Walnut Creek Mutual right now is in the process of looking for a unit volunteer that will allow this new hardwood floor to be installed and then do a sound test below to see if the decibels are within the proper range. So they are making moves to try to make it the best place for anybody to live with the most options that they possibly can. But yes, hardwood flooring in many mutuals on the second floor currently is not allowed due to the noise that it causes to the neighbors below.
So something to keep in mind, right? So some people say, well, I don't want anyone above me. So if you want to be on the top floor, you may need to have carpet. So we'll have to decide. So don't forget that there are places that are one level. There's nobody below you and there's nobody above you. And so you can do whatever you want, which is sort of nice. Okay, so I really want to save time for your questions because I am going to assume you have a lot of questions because this is a wonderful opportunity to ask all those questions that you've really had on your mind. Maybe jot down what you want to ask, and we will now, we're going to now have you, if you wouldn't mind, take a hot minute to fill out your evaluations. Let us know if you have any questions that any of us can answer, if you want a consultation with any of the education partners or myself. And I want to share, while you're doing that, I want to share something that we're bringing to you that we've never done before. And this is going to be a monthly learning lab. So what this is going to be is it's going to be a smaller classroom setting where up to 35 of you will have an opportunity to come each month and learn from one of the education partners and really have more one-on-one time, get your personal questions answered, and you can dive deeper in many cases on one of the topics that we present here in the greater seminars. So the next one that's coming up, and really the first one we're going to host, is on March 14th. And they're always going to be from 1:30 to 2:30, so 1 hour in the afternoon, and they're going to be at the Keller Williams Realty East Bay office, which is where my office is. And the first one will be hosted by Mutual of Omaha, Reverse Mortgage. And she's going to talk about financing, and we're also going to do a deeper dive into Rossmoor as well. So maybe mark your calendars for that. And I believe Susan had the flyer, and we'll make sure that we attach this to our thank you for coming email as well. So this lists the events that we have scheduled so far, each seminar, each learning lab, and the dates and times. And then also our first bus tour is scheduled with Kisco, which is Byram Park and the Kensington. That's scheduled for April 18th. So we'll keep updating this as we add bus tours to the schedule as the year goes on. So let's see, show of hands, or actually, who's got the raffle basket? So let's get to question and answer. I don't even know how to put that. Okay. So who else? Do we have a mic runner today for the other side? No? Okay, well, I'm going to be running around. Okay, we'll start with Bill because you're up front and center.
Hi, I understand there's a Rossmoor computer club. What can you tell me about it?
We do have a computer club that is one of our largest clubs. They also have a lab in the Gateway Complex, one of our main clubhouses, where they provide assistance to other residents that are coming in with computer questions or need help with technology in general. But it is all of our clubs are independent. They run themselves. They have their own boards and so forth. But Computer Club is one of the more active ones for sure.
Nice. Okay, Marianne.
Do each of the mutuals have a governing board elected by the people that live there? And also one other question is, why does one mutual not belong to Golden Rain or not be associated with Golden Rain?
Sure. Do you want to answer the second question? Jeff might be able to answer the second question about why the Waterford is not part of it. But yes, absolutely. Every association does have an elected board that does run that corporation. Yeah, and it's all, every single board member is elected by the membership.
So that's the same for the Waterford as well. The board of directors are all residents that live within the Waterford.
So Golden Rain Foundation, through our mutual operations department, we provide property management services to all of the mutuals except for the Waterford. The Waterford has its own management, on-site management and services, so it is very unique compared to the other mutuals. At one time, Golden Rain Foundation did provide an on-site manager there, but they had made the decision to operate that themselves because, again, they're all on site and self-contained. And as a congregate living community, multi-story with their own amenities that they offer, it is very unique from the other mutuals.
What's the range of the HOA fees for the different mutuals?
There's quite a range of the HOA dues. I believe that the lowest HOA due right now is $1,150, and the most expensive HOA due right now is about $1,700 per month, but the medium coupon right now is $1,250.
So there's two components to those coupons. There's one component that is the HOA dues that are strictly for everything associated with the community that you live in, and then there's the Golden Rain Foundation portion, which is all of the amenities, services, and includes your cable and broadband, your gym membership, all of those amenities. So there's two different portions to it.
I'd like to add on that the Waterford, the monthly HOA is a little bit higher than what the rest of Rossmoor is. It ranges, the lowest is about $2,600 a month, and then the highest is just shy of $3,100 a month. But that does include the daily meal, which that's what draws more residents in, is that little extra component that has the lunch or dinner, and then also the weekly housekeeping. Again, it also includes all of the amenities and the staff that come with it, but the main things are definitely the daily meal and the weekly housekeeping.
And Ariadna, I wanted to ask you also, for the sake of our attendees, if I wanted a second meal, because I eat a lot, can I pay for a second meal?
Yes, so
Okay.
we offer lunch and dinner. As I mentioned, the one daily meal, most residents want to pick just the one meal, but if they wanted to do the second meal, right now for this year, it costs an additional $325 a month to have that second meal added on. So you'd have your $2,600 and then the $325 added on to that.
Yep, I have a two-part question regarding transportation. So within all of Rossmoor, it was mentioned there was 130 spaces at certain fees, 1,000 for covered, 750 for uncovered. Is that a one-time charge or is it monthly?
So that was associated with RV, recreational vehicle parking. If you buy a unit within one of the HOAs, they come with, again, a whole variety. Some have enclosed garages, some have carports, some have open parking. Those are all included unless you lease an additional space.
Thank you. Then my other question involves the transportation provided by the 14 or 16 passenger vehicles. You mentioned to BART and some central points. Are those vans also routinely going to medical facilities such as Kaiser or John Muir Hospital?
So we do not go down to Shadelands, but we do go to Kaiser in downtown Walnut Creek. They are all wheelchair accessible with lifts. So we offer both paratransit and regular service within the community and to different locations within Walnut Creek, but we don't go to Shadelands, which is primary medical.
But it's more on call basis now, kind of a dial-a-bus situation, right?
That's correct.
Because they used to just be circling, like there's the white van going around in circles, there's the red van. And now you got really smart and decided, okay, let's just have you call when you want them to come pick you up and drive you somewhere. So, all right, question?
Is there a cap on the monthly coupon? Can it be raised at any time? And is there any limitation on how much it can be raised?
Is there a cap on the coupon? In the long run, no, there's no cap on the coupon. On a yearly basis, absolutely, there's a cap on the coupon. The coupon cannot be raised more than 19.9% in any year without going to a full membership vote. So that is the limits on the coupon for a yearly increase. And unfortunately, this year with the insurance prices, the way they have skyrocketed, some mutuals did do a 19.9% increase this year. It's important for the associations to be bringing in enough revenue to cover their expenses, and that's what the coupon is 100% based to do, is to be a zero profit center. That's something that's also very unique to MOD, which is the Mutual Operations Department. We're a nonprofit center as well, so we only charge as much money as necessary to perform the functions that are essential for the mutuals.
You mentioned permits for upgrading or remodeling. If you were changing a faucet or tiles in a bathroom, would you require a permit for that?
Yes, you would. Part of the reason why there's a permit process also is to make sure that the alterations they're permitted, and once an alteration is permitted, it becomes part of that unit, and if there was a loss for any reason, those alterations get taken into account when the evaluation of that unit is made. So for instance, if someone was to put in brand new cherry cabinets and they did not tell MOD about it with granite countertops, and for some reason there was a loss, MOD would come back and say, well, as far as we know, they were plywood cabinets or medium density wood cabinets, and that's what we would replace with. So that's why it's essential as well to get those alteration permits.
And my second question is, you have beautiful facilities, but you don't rent them out to the public even if there's a resident in Rossmoor. Why is that?
So we do have a number of clubhouse facilities and meeting rooms of various sizes, and those are available for one of the many clubs that hold meetings there, for the mutuals that conduct meetings there, for Golden Rain Foundation that conducts recreational activities. But they're also available for residents to rent, and they can rent those for a variety. They want to hold a reunion with their family, they can rent and invite their family in. They want to hold a birthday party and have people in, a memorial, a variety of reasons. Residents can rent our facilities. They cannot rent them for the sole purpose of having an outside event. So it does have to be an event that is for the resident or the member. That's the focus.
I have two questions. The first is the transferability of one's interest, like the right of survivorship. Does that exist? Or what happens when the individual passes away? Can they transfer their interest to a family member, or do they have to return it to the association? And then the second question is, how do you provide for reserves, and is there a risk of special assessments like there is for most other HOAs and planned urban developments?
First part of your question, I believe, was in regards to the membership transfer fee that you pay when you move in to get membership to Golden Rain Foundation. That's that $13,000 membership transfer fee that we talked about at the beginning. That is not a commodity that you can pass down to your son or daughter or heir. It is charged every time there is a title change. So if a member deceased and it is transfers to their son or daughter and they are the new person on title, there is a transfer fee charged for that. In regards to the second question.
Yeah, and as far as the second question goes, the reserves are funded through the coupon, the monthly assessment. Recently, Jeff mentioned there was two parts to the monthly assessment. There's actually three parts, but two of them are kind of grouped together, right? So there's the Golden Rain Foundation portion of the coupon, and then there's the association portion of the coupon. The association portion of the coupon is split into two portions. One is operating fund, and the other is a reserve fund. The reserve fund is funded through the association's assessments. That reserve fund, every association needs to have a reserve fund study done every year. Every 3 years it has to be a physical study. Though that reserve company does a diagnostics of where they are financially and what's going on with their 30-year components, when or whether they may not be replaced. They calculate with inflation and interest on monies in the banks, how much money we need to have in the bank 30 years from now, and they calculate that with a reserve contribution fund. And that is set by a reserve company provider. So absolutely, it's something that's addressed every single year when we're in the budget process, and we look towards 30 years out to make sure that we're fully funded. In the past, I believe that it was who has the lowest coupon. Having the lowest coupon is not the best idea as far as maintaining your assets, which is what the association is supposed to do, is maintain their assets. So having an assessment that is in line with what is necessary for the maintenance of your building is what's critical, and that's done with the reserve study. The question of, is there any special assessments that are intimate or coming soon, imminent? Not at this time that I know of, but that doesn't mean that that can't change at any point in time. We work diligently with the associations to ensure that they're fully funded in case of any kind of repair or replacement needs.
I have a question. I have a dear friend from high school, and her mama lives in Rossmoor. So she's about to move to a boarding care, and the kids are going to move in and supposedly rent it. what needs to happen, or do they even have to tell you, and how would you know if they don't?
Yes, they do need to tell us, right? So having a new member, because what that would be is a new member that owns the unit. So there has to be, there's a lot of paperwork that has to be involved with that, and I have a whole department, it's called our member records department, that will take care of all that, but it is a process for sure. Do you want to speak to it a little bit, Jeff?
So there are different kinds of members and membership status. You could be a co-occupant, you could be a, what am I thinking of?
Lessee.
Yeah, so in your situation, if the mother still is on title, they can make their children co-occupants with her or designated occupants, and that kind of changes how the membership is received and if there's a fee or not. The fee is charged if there's a title transfer. So if it still remained in her name, but they were designated occupants, then they would have the privileges to use the amenities and live there and so forth as long as they were of age. But if the title transferred to one of the children, then it would have to be
Yeah, I understand that. Because I think the daughter's been basically living there most of the time anyway, helping mom. And so she's on the guest list already. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I was trying to find out. I mean, this is my question to you.
So you do want to let us know, because when you go to use an amenity or go to make a reservation for one of those facilities, you want to go to the fitness center, you have to show that you are a member. And you can't do that unless you're in our system. So if you're renting, you pay a facility usage fee, which is pretty nominal, but that gets you in our system, so then you can go and use those amenities.
And the rental fee is $70 a month. And then you can use all the goodies. But if you're renting, you're not paying the monthly coupon. Any questions? Oh, okay, let me come back here.
It's just real quick. You said you have to be of age. What is the lowest age that you can be to live in Rossmoor?
It's age restricted to 55. However, it's one of the members has to be of 55. So if your spouse is younger than that, then that's how it would be. But one of the owners has to be at least 55 or over.
For the Waterford, is there a $13,000 buy-in fee that's identical to what it is for Golden Rain Foundation? And it is not a continuing care facility, it is an actual purchase of a condominium? So ownership, okay. And the homeowners' dues, you mentioned cable, gym membership, it includes water or garbage. Can you just rattle off the typical list of amenities that you receive as part of your homeowners' dues? Thanks.
$1,000. Residents, when they purchase a unit at the Waterford, that still is paid to GRF. As far as the monthly assessment, I forgot the first part to your question, but it does include, it has categories. So it has the mutual operations, the reserve, and then it does have the portion where the water, trash, recycle, the standard Comcast cable, internet, that's all part of that $2,600. That's part of the assessment, along with the meal and the housekeeping.
I mean, keep in mind, who here is paying over $200 a month just on your silly TV and Wi-Fi? It's free. Not free, but it's in your coupon in Rossmoor.
It's less than $60 a month.
I know, so that is a beautiful thing right there, I'm telling you.
The only thing that the Waterford resident pays for is their own PG&E and the HO6, condo policy, or insurance, excuse me. But PG&E, each unit has a separate meter.
Hi, I had two questions. The first question is maybe more complicated. There are some retirement facilities that are rated as CCRCs, or continuing care retirement communities, where it's guaranteed that the person for the rest of their life will have what the level of care that they need, independent, assisted, memory care, skilled nursing facility. I'm assuming this is not like that, and so...
That is not Rossmoor.
You are correct with your assumption. That is not Rossmoor.
So what happens if a person becomes somewhat disabled and needs a higher level of care? And then I have one more question.
There is the possibility of them having in-home care on their own. It is not provided by the Golden Rain Foundation or the Mutual of Operations Department. But it is a possibility to have in-home care. It's just on the individual resident's responsibility to make that happen.
And that's the same for the Waterford. That's all separately done.
Many residents do start in one of the mutuals, and it's somewhat of a tier. They may move to the Waterford because they want a little bit higher care with the meal program and with some housekeeping services, but then they may, after that, move to assisted care. There's several communities just outside of Rossmoor, but Rossmoor is not intended to be that final.
My second question is, except for entrance fees, there's been almost no discussion of what does it cost to live at Rossmoor. I understand there are all these different types of housing, and so you're not going to be able to give a detailed answer, but can you give us some general idea how much do you own the places you live in? Is that true of every place you live in? Are there some places other than the co-ops? Are there some places that you don't own? And basically, what is the average price of living at Rossmoor?
I can answer.
Sure.
As a realtor, I can answer that question. So of the 6,700 and change different units, they range from purchase from the 300s to 2.300, 2,300,000. And those could all be, by the way, a two-bedroom place. So when people say, well, Dayna, what does a two-bedroom cost in Rossmoor? Oh, there's a $2 million swing. So that depends on square footage. It depends on all the different things we talked about. Does it have a view? Does it have a two-car attached garage? Or does it just have a carport? So again, if you've heard nothing, hear that Rossmoor is only independent living. And just as if you're living in your own home now, you could have care come in if you need it. So we can talk offline if you ever want to talk more about it.
You said you can't do Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, or you have issues, problems, not you per se. What about just regular mortgages? That's question one. And question two, what's the definition of walls in coverage? Furniture, whatever.
So Rossmoor by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac has been declared unwarrantable. So they will not purchase mortgages that are backed. There are not numerous, but there are several options for lending for mortgages that are non-conventional. Typically, they are at a little bit higher interest rate or have other restrictions in terms of ratios and so forth. You would want to check with, I think there's some lending professionals in the room in terms of what is available to you, but it is more limited because of the insurance crisis that we're in.
I've got some great lenders I can refer to you if you are looking to talk to somebody. But we do have lenders that work in Rossmoor that are getting loans closed right now. So on the condos or the single-family homes. There are 63 single-family homes in Rossmoor. So keep that in mind as well. Hey, I want to thank these amazing Rossmoor rock stars for being here today. Let's give them a big round of applause. They're very, very busy people, and so we're extra thankful for your time and your energy and your wisdom and all that good knowledge that you shared with us. Make sure, and you know what? Susan did not put this, the Learning Lab. Just call our office if you want to come. But again, space is limited to about 35 people, so pick up one of the Learning Lab flyers on your way out. Please hand your yellow evaluation to Ellison, and maybe Joan is out there somewhere. So that's your ticket to get out of jail free. And if you have any other questions about Rossmoor or anything about senior living options, just give me a holler. And we just thank you so much for coming today. So be well, be safe, and have a beautiful day.